Welcome to Blogging Plaza Bite Size. I think I should name this segment when I see a movie in which I have not much to say compared to others. And if you remember, I tried this for the first time when I talk about Don't Breathe 2, in which, because, well, when I watched that film, I thought that nothing much I wanted to say about this movie, that it didn't deserve kind of like a 30 minutes talk about it. So right now, I wanted to take the opportunity to try this for Paranormal Activity Next to Kin, which it came out a little bit of a surprise to me, but got my curiosity enough to get myself a Paramount Plus, at least for this month, so I can well watch it, because as a guy who really liked found footage films, I am one of those guys who actually was into the rage when the Paranormal Activity franchise was in it. I'll go quick like my rundown of all the Paranormal Activity movies before I go with the one that came out. The first one, I remember that I saw it in Vancouver, Canada. I got a copy that I watched on my computer, and I do remember that at first I was kind of like a little bit bored, but then it gets so good that I was really scared, and it didn't help that I was living in a basement during that moment, and the room was so dark, and man, I was really scared. And by the way, I didn't get the original ending of that one. I actually had the alternate ending. I think it's the one that's shown in Canada. If you're curious, it was the one that I think it was the better ending that actually did scrap down the sequels. By the way, yeah, it's the one that it's the one in which the main character possessed. She just rocks it, for kind of like many hours until she gets shot by the police. That ending. And then then when I began to live in New Jersey, I decided to rent Paranormal Activity 3, because I don't know, there was something that I didn't care for Paranormal Activity 2, and I really love Paranormal Activity 3. By far, 3 is my favorite of all the Paranormal Activity movies, and I really love it. Paranormal Activity 2, many people say that it is technically the best one, although I kind of disagree, mostly because, well, there was a moment in which I was kind of like a little bit too confused during the climax and all these things. And then I got my first experience on the movie theaters by watching Paranormal Activity 4. That one sucked. That one sucked because it had really stupid decisions that they made. Then they made Paranormal Activity 5, in which at this point they didn't go out on naming all of them. That one is called the Mark Ones, and actually that was actually better. It's also one of my favorites, in which that one technically doesn't 100% connect to the other ones, but man, that even if the Mark Ones is not on your taste, at least watch it because it has an awesome action-packed climax. And then there is the Ghost Dimension, in which I do remember that I didn't get the chance to watch it on movie theaters. I don't know why. Maybe I wanted to watch another movie, but but when I saw it while renting on my PlayStation store, that one actually sucked too. It wasn't good. It had zero sense, but at least I'll give it credit that was actually put a nail on the coffin to the Paranormal Activity movies, because the more they wanted to build up kind of like a lore, they kind of felt a little bit clumsy. And wow, it became a little bit of a surprise, in which now we got this one, Paranormal Activity Next to Kin, and wow, that it was kind of lame. This movie wasn't good. It's not as, I will say that is not exactly as bad as Paranormal Activity 4, but it's kind of a little bit on the same level. And well, honestly, a movie that is called Paranormal Activity, it doesn't feel like a Paranormal Activity. It honestly, it feels like another story. It has no connection to the other ones, so it makes you question. It makes you think that it is only a name that they wanted to call Paranormal Activity, and that's it. It's because it's just found footage. So anyway, now I have to talk about this movie, at least on some of the highlights that I want to say. So the movie is about this girl who she finds out that she has relatives in this Amish area. She meets her Amish family. She decides to make a documentary about it, about her relatives, that she didn't know it existed and everything. But well, it is all Amishy and everything, and she's kind of like open-minded to it. Unfortunately, the more she stays, there's something really, really shady going on, really demonically shady. That's technically all the things I have to say about the synopsis, and it is. I wanted to feel that really interested, because it's not every time that you see a horror movie in the perspective of an Amish settlement. But in this one, they kind of have taken advantage of it, but not exactly goes in its favor. There are some elements that I actually was kind of digging, but unfortunately it's not enough to make it kind of like a great movie. Especially because I'm one guy who actually really like mythologies and all these anthropological creatures. In this case, they wanted to make it close to the demon Asmodeus, which is the Prince of Hell. And unfortunately, they didn't take much advantage of that. It just there's a creature out there, and sometimes there's some ghostly things that they just put there just for the sake of it. Well, although I do admit that there was something really highlighting and really cool in the final minutes of the movie, but it's not enough to save it, because you have to sit through all these found footage traps that you find. And one of the biggest problems that I have with this movie is the cinematography. And while the other Paranormal Activities, they are proud themselves to use the found footage, the stuff that they use, or sometimes they use gimmicks. At least it felt like it is found footage, and there are some moments in which, you're gonna question, why the hell are you filming this, or who is. This movie commits a lot of atrocities in which, first of all, there are some shots that it looks so good that it feels so clean to the point that you forgot that it is a found footage movie. And also it commits the sin that every time there's a jump scare, there's some orchestral strings. And I was like, this is supposed to be a found footage film, so probably someone decided to edit it. And there are moments, of course, that it feels like someone edited this thing, in which there's also this gimmick that they just wanted to show, that they can use slow motion and the camera, or the green night night visions, typical found footagey stuff. And boy, that you see that these shots technically just ruins the found footage feeling that this movie is supposed to give. And also, well, the characters are, just there. Sometimes you kind of question some continuity. There's a moment in which a character just kind of cuts its wrist, and then in the next shot, that character appears, and it was like, no one's gonna mention this. Or, of course, the typical moments in which, that the character just wants to get to the bottom of everything, but here's a question for you guys. If you see kind of like this big giant hole that goes underground with a rope and a strap, and there's blood there, I don't think that your first instinct is, let's go down there. No, because probably you're gonna end up with in a Super Mario Brothers underground level with lava. Or in this case, you're gonna see, I'm gonna ruin it, just, I don't care. Probably you've seen this movie. You're gonna find a monster that looks like Gollum. Yeah, and speaking of stuff, it's kind of weird that one of the characters, he kind of looks like Keanu Reeves. Yeah. So, honestly, that's technically all I wanted to talk about Paranormal Activity next to Kin. It was bad. It was just bad. At least on part on Paranormal Activity 4, but at least on Paranormal Activity 4, it knew that it was found footage. This one, it kind of feels like it forgot the rules, and it is a shame. Again, I liked some what they were trying to do. A horror center on an Amish settlement, or sometimes there is kind of, how can I say, the Asmodeus thing. The climax I actually like. Oh, I also forgot that there's a moment in which they use a drone, but they just use it for convenience sake, to make shots that it was like, are we really watching a documentary, or a found footage film? So please, movie, make up your mind. You want to be a mockumentary or a found footage film? So that's all. Paranormal Activity next to Kin. I don't exactly recommend it. There are other movies that you should watch, but not this one.